This is The Wheel Weave, a Wheel Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first time reader going through the series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapters we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me on this journey. We'd like to thank and acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy and Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Yanis, Rikky Morrisette, Lorenzo, LightBlindedFool, and the Amyrlin seat. And before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome Robert Andrews and Naz Albez to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your generosity and your support. We really, truly appreciate it. In this episode, we are talking about chapters 29 and 30 of A Crown of Swords.
Yeah, so chapter 29 is the Festival of Birds, and chapter 30 is the First Cup. And first, we have a very special guest joining us for these chapters.
Yeah, we do. Welcome to our good friend of the podcast, Spencer.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm happy to be back. I am ready for my Crown of Swords appearance. Here we go.
Here we go. It's a shorter book, so we had to squeeze you in. We had to get you in for this.
Yeah, this one kind of snuck up on me. I can't believe we're not quite approaching the end, but we're over halfway already. We are. You are.
We're getting there like way too fast.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. We're all in this together. And now we break out into song and dance via High School Musical.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That was like the OG, we're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know that. Okay, and before we go any further, please be advised that in this episode, we discuss themes of sexual assault and rape due to the actions which take place in Chapter 29. We acknowledge and understand that this is a sensitive subject, and our discussion tonight may be more in-depth than we typically cover.
Okay, so yeah, let's get into this, because there are some heavy topics, but after we get past that first section, we have some actually really awesome stuff happening in these chapters.
We got some stuff going on.
Yeah.
We have some things to talk about, and then we have some things to talk about.
What a cliffhanger at the very end, hey?
My goodness. If I had any idea what was going on.
Right.
I have no idea what's happening, but I am excited. Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be honest. You told me I was coming on for these chapters. I got apprehensive. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a tough one. But then it gets so fun, and it ends on such a high note. So I'm really excited to get into things today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be good. It'll be a little bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Stick with us. It'll be great.
Yeah, we'll get there. So I'm going to start us off with a fun fact, and we're going to keep it light and breezy, and it's a little bit about the real world inspiration for the Festival of Birds, because we get to see this
I was going to ask if you had a fun fact about masquerade balls.
I mean, a little bit, kind of, sort of, but specifically the Festival of Birds, because we got party time, we got masks, we got costumes, we got feathers, we got general debauchery all over the city. It's a lot of fun. And Beslan's here for it. Like, he's the guy.
They all are.
Yeah. So we have some actual parallels between the Festival of Birds and the general partying of the festivals like Mardi Gras, Carnival, and the Carnival of Venice, etc., 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 because these events take place all over the world. And interestingly, they're all based on pretty much the exact same thing.
Fat Tuesday.
Which is...
I knew that one.
So that's the thing. It's generally taking place in and around the days before the Christian holiday of Lent.
Interesting.
So right before leading up to, it's all the pretty much exact same thing. And that's just like a general sense of the exact same thing.
Okay.
So we've got some similarities that we see tonight in Abu Dar. We've got the Rio Carnival takes place in palaces and exhibition places and the beach, but also spills out onto the streets. So we get to kind of see and hear about that. It's way too hot in Abu Dar, which is why it's outside, but usually it's inside.
Okay.
We learned that this chapter.
Oh, do we?
We
did not pay attention to that.
Oh, goodness. What are we even doing then? Okay.
I don't know.
Now, Mardi Gras is, among other things, very famous for the scantily clad boobs and such.
Boobs.
Yeah. And then the Carnival of Venice is world famous for the elaborate masks. And mask makers hold a special place in society and even had their own guild, which is very Abu Dhari of them, in Venetian culture. And in modern times, they also have a competition for the most beautiful mask.
Ooh,
yeah,
costume
during their
contest.
Festival. Absolutely. So there we go. There is some fun stuff that happens during the Festival of Birds.
Okay, so not specifically masquerade balls.
No.
But just
general partying.
General partying with boobs and masks.
Yeah.
Sure.
We love it.
Did you grow up watching a lot of TV and there's always masquerades? I thought masquerades were going to be a bigger part of my life as an adult than they are.
I agree.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. How many masquerade parties have you hosted in your castle?
Oh,
Yes.
None?
see?
Is it none?
Zero.
Yeah,
So
it's
you're part of
none.
the problem.
Yeah. There was one time we considered going to a gala that was a masquerade.
When you say we, are you talking about me and you, or it's you and Spencer?
No. Oh, I guess that's true. I should clarify.
Yeah.
No, you and me, Brett.
Really?
Yeah. Well, and when I say we, it's like I got a thing for it.
Okay.
And it was like, buy tickets to this gala, and the theme is masquerade ball. And I thought, that's interesting. And then that's where that ended. So,
all right. That's a less good story.
We didn't go. That's a terrible story. But here's the thing. We have to do a recap for where we last left off, because Matt has moved into the palace, and currently he's being starved until he meets with Queen Tylan. He's bringing in his own bread and cheese, and he has a child shield protecting him.
Yeah.
Now, he's also having no luck sitting outside the Kin's house.
Yep.
The illustrious guild of the Tower Rejects,
right,
as we so lovingly have called them. He's having no luck. He hasn't found the Cloud Bowl or anything.
Yes.
He hasn't found anything, but he has no idea really what he's doing outside this house
He's
and how
gotta do
it's
something.
connected to the bowl. No one told him that. No one chose to that with him. So there's that.
Well, it's funny. They decided to bring him into the fold.
They did.
But only sort of,
Only
apparently.
sort of.
Yeah.
Only sort of. All right. Now, last time we were with Moghedien, which is important for chapter 30, turns out she was in the service of some guy who now owns her soul because of her, fucking up and getting captured.
Moghedien.
Moghedien,
Yeah.
right. That's
Death.
the name. In the audiobook, they pronounce it way different than that. But I can't remember now how they pronounce it.
Oh, man. Okay.
I know. Cliffhanger. Go listen, I guess. I don't know.
That's one of those ones that I've always assumed was just Moghedien. It doesn't seem confusing.
Yeah, Moghedien. I don't know. That's all I got for you. And hey, listen. So you know how in the past I personally was confused and didn't know what a plume was?
Yeah, okay.
So if there ever was any argument ever to be had about what a plume is, and spoiler alert, there's not. It's literally the French word for feather.
Yeah.
But in this specific chapter, we get the word plume about 800,000 times describing feathers.
Yes.
Like birds.
Yes.
So,
well, apparently a couple episodes ago, I accidentally had said severing for like the pout when I was actually talking about being burned out. And I said the wrong word. So like,
you idiot. How could you ever make such a terrible mistake?
So, okay.
All right. Let's get into it then. All right. So, chapter 29 is the Festival of Birds. And man, this place has a lot of festivals. Like, wasn't it like Swoven night like 2 nights ago?
So here's the thing. It's like a week-long celebration. We're doing this thing. Lots of different parties.
Lots of the things. Okay. So the chapter symbol is the dragon's fang, which is a weird one, isn't it? For this chapter, I just can't figure it out. Should I be able to figure this out?
Like at the end, they're all attacked by a bunch of presumably
beggars. Oh, that's
who are
true.
dark friends. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not the dark friend symbol.
Well, it's sort of evolving. It's like
it?
Previously, it had kind of sort of been.
That's what it was, but it has evolved since then.
And it switched kind of to Rand symbol, but then it's kind of like symbol. And that's not really Rand symbol all the time anymore.
No, it's not.
Now it's like the dragon, so it's like evolving.
Uh-huh.
So maybe now it means both. Rand or dark friends.
One of the beggars is Rand disguised as a beggar.
No, because I thought maybe it was like the male have the power and there was something to do with male channeling in here.
Okay.
Or something.
That seems less likely.
Yeah.
I like my theory better. It
certainly does, doesn't it? All right. So we're going back to the old school dragon's fang, like scribbled on someone's door.
Sure.
I think
type
so.
Of friend. Because that's okay. I'm gonna move
low end dark friends.
Okay. All right, let's get into this then. So we enter in a map perspective. He wakes up with the dice still rolling in his head and considers just like going back to sleep until they stop. But Oliver is up and about and he's super excited because it's the Festival of Birds. And no, they're not going to the races today, but maybe they'll see the menagerie. And side note, which menagerie? Side note, is Nynaeve going to have to deal with Val and Luca again because they're both in Abu Dar.
What?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
The reappearance of the glorious.
I was like, Circus! The circus is back! Oh, no.
Hugh Jackman's back in town.
Oh, man. Okay, so that was just a side note. But now Matt says he will buy Oliver a feathered mask for the festival, so that's nice.
Yeah.
But Matt and Oliver go to leave now, but before they can even get out of Matt's own apartment, Tylan is standing there with the door wide open because she has an extra key. Of course she does. She's the queen.
Yes.
This is her palace.
This makes sense that you would have spare keys to rooms.
Really should have put that chair under the door because...
Yeah. Even for like general janitorial services, I expect there to be like extra keys.
It's the olden times.
Yeah.
And not only that, she points out that Matt did a very poor job hiding the one key he did have. She found it immediately.
Right.
You know, in Matt's defense, he has Oliver here now, so he thinks that he's relatively safe.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, okay, so she's not feeding me, but like she's left me alone. No one's rattled at the door, so...
His guard was down.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit.
Yep.
And so now Matt pulls Oliver in front of him as a barrier and tells Tylan that he's taking him to see the festival and tries to like edge towards the door. But Tylan's like, ooh, it will be good for him to go do that with somebody.
Yeah.
And then calls for one of the palace serving girls, who, by the way, has a spectacular bosom.
Right.
The most spectacular bosom that Matt has ever seen.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
Say, I get the sense that Matt has seen a lot of bosoms. So this is quite a qualifier.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool.
There you go. And
It's pretty
Oliver's
good.
also a big fan. Like
Oliver's a fan. And I think that Tylan knows that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Somebody recently let me know that since I was tracking the like gray hair at the temples, they were going to start tracking when a bosom was brought up.
Oh man. Okay.
It's a lot. It's
give
so
me
much.
give me those lists and we'll get some good stats out of that.
It's so much. So this woman with a spectacular bosom comes in and sweeps Oliver off to leave, and he runs away with her.
Yeah.
And now Matt is left alone. So his guard is gone.
Yep.
His child guard.
Sorry, man.
Now Tylan and Matt are alone, and she tells him, "You're lucky I'm not a jealous woman." And then she locks the door, like from the inside. So they're stuck in here together. And I, like, right away knew that this was it. This was bad news.
Yeah.
This is it.
This
is
bad, and it gets worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now at this point, Matt has had enough of this, and he doesn't even really quite get like what's happening here. I think he just kind of feels like she's really teasing him. I don't know, like, because he's had enough of this. He's like, that's enough, and he like moves to like take the key from her.
Yeah,
he's like, this isn't funny anymore. Like, I'm not doing this.
From my perspective, it's almost like he's so Matt's a guy who likes to chase, and he chases, but we get afterwards in his mind that he will only chase until it's made clear that they don't want him.
Yeah, I do have note when he says that. I have the
So and then he's like, no. So as long as it's like a yes, then he'll keep going. If it's a no, then he leaves.
Yes.
So in his mind, he's expecting the same respect from Tylan. So he hasn't exactly made it, in asterisk here, explicitly clear, right? That it's a no. But now he's like, it's a no. So he's not even expecting Tylan to go any further. I can see him thinking, oh, she's gonna push until I'm like, enough. And then she'll back off, and then clearly that doesn't happen. So the entire time things are happening to him, he's like, what's going on? Why is she pushing me to the bed? What's going on? It just doesn't process in his brain properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think, like, in this chapter, we do have to address Robert Jordan's clear desire for doing gender role reversals in his writing. Like, that has been a theme in the past, and I think that this is just, like, another one of those things that he's highlighting.
Sure.
Well, and I think another interesting thing here is the obvious power imbalance. So Matt is staying at the palace. He's staying here at the request of the girls, and she's the queen. And so he might not have been so forward at the beginning telling her no and kind of not playing along, but not saying explicitly no, because there is this power differential, and he doesn't want to upset the queen. He doesn't want to mess up this rekindled relationship with the girls.
Right.
And so he's kind of doing this delicate balance, but even he can only be pushed so far with this power differential, and he thinks that if he's explicit, it will end.
Yeah, and
wrong.
last time we had Nynaeve and Elayne scolding him for not going to dinner with the queen.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Nynaeve being like, don't you try your tricks on her. And he was like, what the hell? No.
Yeah.
Right? So at this point, he goes to take the key from her and is like, enough of this. But then she shoves the point of her dagger right up to his chin and drives him like up on his toes. And she's like, since you want to play roughly, and moves him like at knife point to the bed.
Yeah.
And Matt even thinks to himself at this point, like, surely she doesn't mean to ...
Yeah.
Like, he's like, what the heck is happening?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it doesn't process with him that she's gonna maybe ram the knife through his head, but like maybe that's a thing because they're Abu Dari and that might actually happen.
Yeah.
But also, even when he backs up like to the bed, he doesn't understand why they're there.
Yeah.
So it still hasn't registered of what's actually going to be going
Because he's
down.
like, what are you going to do? Like,
Yeah.
he keeps asking her, right?
No, yeah.
Well, and
Spencer
and
makes
he's-
a good point of the power imbalance.
Yeah, and he's clearly so discombobulated that he doesn't understand what's going on, and he refers to her by her first name. He refers to the queen by her first name because he just is like spewing things because he's overwhelmed.
Yeah, we get the side note that that's like a risky business in Abu Dar
Even-
because
yeah.
if you don't have explicit permission to use her,
Any woman, not
and- yeah,
just the queen,
like
right?
that's going to be
Yeah.
a wow, it might end up even worse for you. So
And at this point, he still thinks that she's like might kill him, and I think the sexual aspect of it really doesn't even cross his mind until clearly she like starts cutting off his clothes, and they bump into the bedpost, and she's like, or he thinks, why would she bring me here? And is like, no, she can't mean to. It's not decent. It's not possible. And then he says, you can't do this to me. And
Yeah.
then the scene ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
she
so,
says, watch and learn, my kitten.
Oh,
After
Yeah.
she says-
yikes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So I mean, I think it's an interesting, like, yeah, okay. So RJ did this with Morghedien a couple of chapters ago. So it's sort of like a maybe not a contrast or a comparison, but it's in a similar vein of two people who are at the mercy of the ruler, right?
Yeah.
And we could say
Who
it's
is being the aggressor?
yeah, and we could say
Yeah.
it's a role reversal, but it's really, I mean, I would prefer not to use that term just
I said
because
gender role
yeah,
reversal.
but it's not so much because it's the same event that's happening.
I know it's not.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, I know it's not. I just think that Robert Jordan, in his writing, does a lot of gender role reversal
Sure.
writing, and I think that for the time he was writing in, this was progressive.
Sure. Yeah.
In terms of like what he was doing.
Even just highlighting like this can happen to a guy.
Well, and I feel like that's a lot of like what Abu Dar is, you know, like this is the whole point is this is the place where women are in charge. And so, I mean, I hate to say it, but like where women are in charge, women also do the raping. Like, I mean, it's terrible, but
Yeah. Well, it's like you get the different cultures like Saldea where all the couples just scream at each other and
Yeah.
that's what they expect and want. And it's weird.
Yes.
It's weird.
Yep.
Just like this. It's like it's not, yeah, it doesn't, not exactly.
Doesn't really jive.
Yeah.
And I think that too, the other thing before we kind of move on here is the idea that, oh, a man surely will want this.
Right.
Yes, that's Tylen's viewpoint.
Yes, it's like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want this? Men want to have sex, especially someone like Matt, for example, who's constantly out like chasing tail. He's always looking for the next serving maid. He's always looking for the next.
Tylen said that to him when she first
Yeah.
met him, like, hey, I heard you like the chase.
Yeah, you have a tendency to be with ladies. So like, why would you not also want to be with me?
Yeah.
And then she doesn't take the no.
Yeah. So.
Not good.
Yeah.
Put it on the list.
It's on the list.
Don't do it.
Don't do this.
Don't do it.
All right.
Don't
sexually
assume people. Yeah, don't take people's sexual past into consideration for your own sexual advances.
There you
Not
go.
There you go.
That's an easy
Well
one.
said.
Easy one to put on the list. I like it.
It's
All
up
right.
there.
Good job, everybody.
All right.
We did it.
All right. So we make it through the scene and we time lapse because after we have Tylen humming happily to herself in bed and Matt pulls the sheets up around himself, but he does still have his scarf tied around his neck and his fox head medallion still on.
Yeah.
But Tylan calls the scarf a ribbon on her present.
Yeah. Well, keep in
Oh.
mind, he also has the big hanging scar on his neck.
Yes.
So.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something that Matt typically also, like, hides.
Yeah. And now this is kind of the point where we sort of, like, switch back and forth between this, like, typically men are the chasers, typically men are the aggressors. Even Matt thinks to himself at this moment, I think he even bursts out and says out loud, it isn't natural. I'm the one who's supposed to do the chasing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he
Mhm.
thinks, like, why would this woman do this to me? This doesn't make sense. Because in his world, like, women don't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Tylan says, stop pouting. You know you enjoyed it. And then she tells him she left a present for him in the room over there. And he thinks to himself, I'm the one who gives girls presents. And so he just, like, can't wrap his head around, like,
Yeah,
what's
he's not
happening.
processing it very well, and it's just, it's understandable.
Yeah. It's pretty standard victim mindset. Like, he's been through something pretty traumatic, and I would argue he's in shock. Like,
I was going to
Yes.
say that, yeah.
Because he puts his hands over his eyes until she leaves and tries not to weep. Like, not
Yeah.
even, like, cry, but, like,
Yeah.
weep is a pretty strong word. So he's feeling some pretty strong emotions right now. So
Mhm.
now, once she's gone, he climbs out of bed and gets dressed. But, I did note, like, he doesn't even feel comfortable, being naked. He, like, kind of keeps the sheet wrapped around him. He's not comfortable with himself after what's just happened.
And previously, our boy was just, like, think back to the tower after the healing. Like, he's just walking around naked.
Walking around. Yep. And so now he hides the clothes that Tylan cut off of him, like his red jacket, his good red jacket.
Like, hides them so far under the bed, he hopes nobody ever finds them there.
Right. And he doesn't want to have to explain what happened.
And I think he's ashamed, right? Like, he doesn't understand what's happened. He just feels this uncomfortable feeling.
Right. And this is kind of similar, actually, to when we had Morghedien, kind of after everything happened with her, being in her perspective and her mindset. And even though she did technically say yes, being coerced into saying yes because she's trying to avoid torture also isn't consent.
Yeah.
So she
Same
was
vein.
feeling ashamed
Yeah.
and guilty and terrible and embarrassed.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
I feel
Mhm.
like we got a little bit less, like, in depth into what she was thinking about that situation than what Matt's, like, every single thing that Matt is doing and saying, like, we're literally walking through step by step with him immediately after.
Yeah, I want to bring
Yep.
up a quote that Tom had said a couple of chapters back, and is a little bit off the cuff for me. I didn't put this in my notes or anything, so it might not be exactly right. But he was talking to Avienda, because Avienda, when they were in that situation where she was like, oh, I didn't realize they were so weak to not fight back. And Tom said, well, you've never been up against something that you literally can't fight back against.
Right.
And then she got embarrassed. She's like, oh, okay. That kind of resonates with me.
Right.
And this is the same thing with Morghedien. She thought of herself
as
strong and independent and never going to do that kind of thing until she's finally in this position where you literally can't fight back.
Yeah.
So you got to take it, like, a little bit easier on yourself. And same with Matt, like, never been in a situation where he can't fight back.
Yeah.
So it's just taking that mentality that Tom said a few chapters ago.
Oh, that's
He
true.
really hit the nail on the head with that.
Well, and I also wonder if Matt feels like a little betrayed by his body, because it's very clear mentally Matt does not want to do this. He says that in words to Tylan. But it becomes clear that, sex does
she thinks
occur.
he enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so on some level, his body betrays him a little bit. So he's having this disconnect between his mind and his body that I am assuming he probably hasn't experienced before. And that's also confusing.
Right. Yeah. And then the worst part probably for me, I mean, like, it's all bad, but I just cannot stand all of the baby animal names.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It started a while ago, duckling, then lambkin, then kitten, piglet. Like, it just goes on and on. And it's just, like, even more emphasizing that she is aware of how much younger he is than her.
Mm-hmm.
And that this is her, like, little baby to, like, play around with. It's just disgusting. I, like, can't stand it.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, so now Matt's gonna go to his sitting room. He's gonna see his present, and it's a mask and a matching coat with all sorts of plumes and whatever. It's all dressed up for the festival.
Yeah, and
presents and money. Which makes this even worse.
Because he has to go get his ear pierced.
Yeah, I noticed you don't have your ear pierced. So have it done and I'll get you an earring.
Yeah.
Is that like an I own you situation?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not going to say...
a cattle tag. Yeah.
No.
Oh my
seems
God.
Like that. It seems like that.
Yuck. This is so...
Just when you think it's not going to get worse.
It keeps getting worse. And it's just like these little tiny things that you don't really think of. And then he almost starts crying again.
Yeah. And I got to say, just for the record, the first time that I read through this scene, like, I don't think that it really even registered with me as to what happened because, you know, I read through it. It was a little bit confusing. And then it's like, boom, fight scene. Let's move on.
Right.
And then I don't really think about it very much anymore. But once you really dig into it, it really highlights, like, it's a very well-written scene of all the terribleness all just stacks up and up and up.
A lot of emotion, too, and a lot of emotion that he's having trouble processing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now Matt goes down to the courtyard and meets up with Nynaeve and Brigida for the festival. And Nynaeve just has a simple mask, but Brigida is 100% ready for this festival, and I am here for her outfit.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. She is like ready to be like interviewed on a red carpet. Like, who are you wearing? She is decked out, feathers everywhere, in a dress that's like scandalous. And she says, sometimes it's fun to be looked at.
Yeah, and again, contrast here, because it's like, whoa, man, from Matt going into where he was into Brigida in this scene, it's like, it's a totally different context, but it's also hard for him to watch this happen now, having just come from a place where it's like, he didn't have any of that power. Like, Brigida has the power to want to be looked at right now, and Matt did not have that a second ago, and now he's in this new situation.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't really get that. But I did get the fact that he's very confused because he was just starting to see Brigida as like this buddy who like wears trousers and helps him like pick out pretty girls to hit on. And then now all of a sudden she's like all decked up and she is the pretty girl. So he's like, what's happening around here?
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, because up until this point, Brigida's kind of falling into the she's not like the other girls trope. And now she's being good, and it's confusing.
Well, what I was going to say is she took out her ponytail and took off her glasses.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm fully here for her being able to do both. You can do both things, people.
That's right. You can be hot and strong.
You can do both.
And hang out with the boys. You can do all of it.
Absolutely.
That's fine. It's just so funny because Matt, when Beslan shows up, Matt thinks that Beslan won't recognize Brigida and is surprised when he does.
He's like, she's
still Brigida.
It's like, not that different.
Yeah. She doesn't need a braid and floofy pants.
Tell me how all those superheroes put on the little cover over their eyes and nobody recognizes them anymore.
You're right, actually. Yeah. All right, so anyway, this is where Beslan comes up with his group of friends, and they are just, like, ready to party. And I thought, oh my god, great.
Yeah.
This is
like
just
the
what
frat
Matt...
boys.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah,
they're like quintessential.
They're, like, literally crushing beer cans against their head, calling each other bro. Like, oh my gosh. I just can't. So the crew heads off. And they have some followers because Brigida is showing off a little, being swishy. And Matt is just in this, like, understandably terrible mood. Matt thinks all women are so confusing. And he thinks that he never chased a woman who did not want to be chased.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you were talking about.
Absolutely.
Before.
So I always stick up for so everybody calls Matt a scoundrel.
Yeah.
But, like, in his mind, and from everything we've ever seen about him, he doesn't chase if they don't want to be chased.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes he doesn't chase even when they want to be, like Kyla or whatever her name was. For
there's
example.
nothing like, sure, he likes ladies, but there's nothing scoundrelous about him.
Well, I mean, like, we could get into the definition of scoundrel. You don't have to like chase women who don't want to be chased to be a scoundrel.
Well, from Nynaeve's perspective, he certainly does.
Well,
I think Matt's problem is I think women want more from him because in this universe, you know, a lot of them are more traditional, and I think they think they're going to get more from Matt than just a couple fun nights, and I think that's what makes him a scoundrel. It's all fun and consensual, but he leaves them wanting more.
Yeah, and they're like, "Wait, you're leaving?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm definitely not getting married. Bye."
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
No, he's a commitment phobe. That's what he is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. He's up for a fun time with somebody who also wants a fun time.
Yeah.
But then, they might
rolling the hay.
Yeah, sometimes probably. Yeah, probably very specifically that.
Yeah. I can't imagine rolling in actual hay is very fun, though.
No, it just sticks to you.
Yeah.
It's pokey.
But if you got nowhere else to go.
Now, at this point, we get pages and pages and pages of description of this festival.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It goes on and on and on. There's tumblers and jugglers and musicians and feathers and scandalous costumes and more feathers.
Yeah.
Bird masks everywhere.
But this is where you miss that usually it's an indoor festival, but because of the heat.
Yeah, you did miss that.
You're
and
right.
Usually it's like snow, and it's not like a lot of snow, but it's like still cold enough.
Well, because we did get that
inside.
This is basically like New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Just recently that sort of happened at like a month or two ago or something.
Yeah, and even though Abu Dar is so far south, it's not like winter, like, snowbanks and stuff, but it's still cold enough for people to only be wearing feathers to actually want to stay indoors. So, and apparently
they're all naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So now, while the crew is walking through this festival, Brigida and Elysian are like tossing coins to beggars on the street, and for one of the beggars, Beslan stops them from doing this and says, "Not that one. He doesn't have a brass ring on his little finger, so he's not in the Beggars Guild."
Yes.
Wild.
Okay, it makes sense.
Oh my God.
It makes sense though.
And Matt,
for what happens,
yeah.
Oh, I was going to say for beggars to have a guild, because then you can, if you have someone running it, you have even distribution. You don't have like an overcrowded section of the city and people competing. You can evenly distribute the beggars and the money.
You need that
guilds.
license to busk.
Yes.
And to beg.
That's you gotta have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's a thing.
Okay, that part is the wild part to me.
And then it makes sense for the rest of it later. It's
right.
It's
It's all just like, it's like, that guy's begging and he's not in the fantastic, wonderful guild.
Yeah, there is a name for it.
The disgusting, smelly, poor people guild.
Come on. That's what
Carradine would think.
Yes.
He doesn't like poor people.
Yes, it's the Fellowship of Alms.
Oh, it has a name.
Yeah. Yeah, we get that.
I missed that. I missed it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Matt says, a man can't even beg in this city without being part of a guild. And then, just as that happens, the beggar leaps for his throat with a knife, and a huge fight breaks out. It's a whole thing, a bunch of beggars, and they're screaming and stabbing, and people running, and Brigida's, in on it too, like holding her own without even like ruffling a feather, literally.
Yeah. Who's this mystery woman who we've never met before?
Who's a fantastic fighter.
Hey, you're right.
Beslan's like, oh yeah, Elaine's warder. Right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, I like the part where it mentions that Matt and Brigida get back to back, that like classic, movie scene where they're back to back and doing the circles.
So yeah.
My favorite.
Like maybe even like rolling off each other to fight the beggar.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then Brigida could do the roll over top backwards in her dress.
Oh, man. Yeah, I love it. Okay.
I'll be choreographer. Okay, but you guys didn't even laugh at she doesn't ruffle a feather.
Oh, that's
joke.
A good one. I missed that.
I really liked it. I just got too excited.
It's too exciting.
How something happens, they say something. They
Okay.
say something, and they say, "Old Cully won't like this, Spar."
Yeah. Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
That's
You're
like
staring at me. I was like, I know.
I just want to make sure you know, because that's the Dark Friend guy, so we for sure know that this is a Dark Friend attack, likely coming from Jake and Carradine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except that Old Cully's not going to like it. Is he not going to like that they're losing?
Possible.
Or that this attack happened at all? So like,
because what were Samael's orders?
Don't go after.
Leave him alone. And we know that there's like some weird ranking business with Old Cully and Jacob Carradine.
You know what's funny?
Technically Old Cully should outrank him, but still is taking orders from Jacob Carradine.
Right. I'm going to talk about that whole Jacob Carradine immediately disobeying rules next chapter.
Okay.
It's going to come back.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Okay, so while Matt and crew are like fighting, suddenly other beggars start
real beggars
swarming over the attackers and start stabbing, stabby stab everywhere, and they're like snarling, and Matt looks and there's like a bunch of like beggars stabbing everyone.
Yeah,
and
so it makes sense. It's
Matt's
the real
like,
beggars.
We gotta get out of here. And so Matt's like, okay, and they get away a little bit, and Matt's like, do beggars just like go around attacking people all the time? And Beslan's like, if you're Taviran, there's always excitement around.
That's what he's here for. He's either he wants the ladies or he wants a fight.
But
That's
listen,
what he's here for.
Fighting with beggars isn't proper excitement.
No, it's not. It's not. It was like a little bit fun, but then it just gets like, we should stay out of
Boring.
it. That's where we get the let the Fellowship of Alms finish its business. So it's
Yeah.
the real beggars versus the fake dark friend beggars.
Okay.
That's what's going on here.
All right.
But then we have a pretty dark thought from Matt, who thinks about if he was dead, he wouldn't have to deal with Tylan. That just pops in
true.
here. Just a quick reminder
does.
of how traumatic this is.
And it's also reflective of
What Morghedien
Morghedien
thought. Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
about jumping out the window to escape from the situation that she's in.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yep. All right. So we finally make our way to the Kin's house. And they stop outside at a different tavern to watch the house.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's their job still, even during this festival.
They got to work and drink.
Yeah, except Matt's drinking tea.
Yeah, Matt's not really in the headspace for that.
Uh-huh. And even Beslan kind of makes fun of him for drinking tea.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to
And
be a
not,
party.
like, wine or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he came here to party, and Matt's not, and he doesn't know why. It's a weird situation.
Okay, so everyone's getting pretty antsy, waiting, staring at a house. And Beslan's friends leave. And then eventually, Brigida takes off inside, and Nynaeve goes for a walk. So now it's just Beslan and Matt sitting here alone. It's like, great. Thanks, everybody. So Beslan says, I think you'll be good for my mother, Matt. And Matt is taken by complete surprise. And is like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What? Yeah. No, he knows. Everybody knows.
And Beslan says, for her choosing you as her pretty, of course. Like, what an honor. Matt should be just honored. Tylan chose him.
Yeah.
And Matt is just, like, turning bright red. Beslan thinks that he's getting angry. And then Beslan realizes, he goes, Matt, oh, you don't understand the Ebudari customs.
Yeah.
And says, Matt, she's my mother, not my wife. I don't care who she fucks.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Like,
He doesn't think that there's anything weird because this is what happens.
Father died 10 years ago. I'm glad she chose someone I like. It's totally normal for the Queen of Ebudar to just hook up with...
To have a pretty.
To have a pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like this is the first of Tylan's pretties.
Yes. That's
So-
probably accurate too.
Uh-huh.
Because he's saying, I'm glad that she chose someone I like, maybe implying that there have been others in the past he wasn't that big of a fan of.
Yeah. And then
Mhm.
Matt just, like, can't deal. He has no words. He can't deal with this. He just, like, gets up, starts walking away. And Matt calls back, if I'm not back by tomorrow, tell them that they'll have to find it for themselves. And he starts falling in line with some random woman that he starts following.
Right?
And everyone is crazy.
Mm-hmm. But that's the important part.
I know.
The randomness.
I know. That's
you
what
didn't.
I said.
I just want to make sure because you kind of said
I was just finishing my sentence because he thinks everyone is crazy.
that. I just didn't feel like you really. I just want to make
No,
sure
I
you
did.
saw
That's
that.
That's why I said it.
Okay.
And the woman comes from the house, and Matt doesn't even really seem to notice that. He's just...
And it's just really funny because of what Nynaeve says next chapter, how his message is completely wrong, but maybe might actually lead to something. Like Matt might actually finally get some of that Taviran effect.
I have a theory when we get to the next chapter
Okay.
about, like, what's happened subsequent to this random following. Because before, he was, like, on purpose picking people at random to follow, and that's not how this works.
Yep.
There's no
Right.
on purpose random.
Right.
No way. But now we do have a perspective change for the last, like, paragraph.
Yeah, just a
Of
quick
this chapter.
shot here.
So we go to Rihanna, and she is one of the, like, the leader, or one of the leaders, the eldest of the kin,
Yep.
right? That's who she is?
Yep.
She's watching from the window as someone she knows leaves down the street. Solane,
Yep.
one of the women. And she sees some fellow in a bronze coat after her. We never talked about the coat Matt put on to leave.
No, but that
It was
was
bronze.
the one.
Yep, it's Matt. And she even thinks to herself, if he tries to impede her in any way, then he'll find out that she has no time or patience for men right now.
Yes.
So it seems like in this festival, men just start following women around that they hope to like win the affection of.
Yeah, possibly. And also
So
it implies
great.
that Solane is like a channeler and she'll deal with men
Yes.
as she needs to, but that ain't gonna work so well with Matt.
Well, no, but also he's not following her for festival fun.
True, but if she thinks that he is, it's still not gonna work because of the old fox head, so.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Now, Brett, can you walk me through the rest of what's happening in this? Because I just have no clue. I don't know what she's doing or talking about.
Okay, well, the last time we saw them, she was like, oh, we gotta put things in place that haven't been done for a long time, and maybe we should send everybody who's not, a red belt to the farm for the next while, because they're basically thinking we gotta go into hiding right now, more or less.
This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Finding out what we find out next chapter?
Oh, yeah.
This is like
Yeah.
all a giant joke.
It's a huge joke. It's so funny.
I actually kind of feel bad for them.
But also, we gotta understand that we learn information, but it's information from the Aes Sedai perspective of what they think that they know.
Yeah.
And they think they know everything,
And they don't.
and they don't.
But
So here's the
also,
thing.
they know more than this kin knows.
They know more than the kin thinks that they know.
Right.
I just keep getting trapped in the Friends episode. If they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know that we know
They
that
don't
they
know.
know that we know.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so Brienne's been thinking for the last, and this is the important part, for a few days, she's had the urge to give the orders that have now have come and gone. So she fought the feeling, but today it's so strong that she couldn't wait
Sounds
to give those orders.
Taviran to me.
Sounds like
Yeah.
the pattern was waiting.
Sounds
for
like
things to
a
line up.
random Taviran pull to me.
We had to wait a few days before events transpire
That's right.
for things to line up.
Mm-hmm.
And she thinks all is going to be okay. Secrets are going to be kept that have always been kept. And then she turns back to the 12 women here because we know their whole circle things and stuff. And she thinks, I think we should consider moving everyone who doesn't wear the belt to the farm for a little while. So let's basically evacuate all the women, get them out of here. The funny thing is that Rianne thinks, or Rihanna?
Yep.
Rianne, okay?
No, it's like Liana, but Rihanna.
Yes. So
Under
she
my
thinks
umbrella. Sorry.
Nice. No, that's good.
she thinks there's
I
little
know.
discussion because the 12 here, they're the elders, but she's the eldest. And she thinks, at least in this way, there's no harm in behaving the same way that Aes Sedai do.
Right.
But we know that the Aes Sedai don't do things based on age.
No.
They do
Yeah.
things based on
Power, strength.
power, strength.
Yeah.
They think that it's based on age, so they set up their little system based on age. So her being the eldest gives her complete authority.
Right.
It's just pointing out that they don't actually know how
No.
Aes Sedai function.
No.
And Aes
And
Sedai
they
power
certainly
structure
think
sucks
that
too, but
yeah, it does. It
yeah.
all sucks. All of this is not good.
it's just
for everybody.
everybody's just wrong about how they think things work.
It's interesting that this little group of elders is 13 women.
Well, it's called a circle too.
Yeah, well, again, it's like copying.
Yeah.
The Dark Friends? The Dark Friends have circles.
No, like a circle of Aes Sedai. The max is 13 women that can form a circle.
Oh.
Their entire
Forget
organization
that,
is
man.
structured around what they think Aes Sedai do.
Oh, that's okay. I do think that they're very cute.
Yeah,
They're
I
trying.
certainly do think that they're trying. Yes.
Tower Rejects.
They are, aren't they?
They're the
Yeah.
real little tower,
They're the real little tower.
right?
Brett.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
Whoa,
That
whoa,
is
whoa.
scandalous.
Wow.
How,
Okay.
Whoa. Okay. I see you need a drink.
Yes.
All right. So
I have to pee.
All right.
excellent. So we'll take a break and then we'll come back for chapter 30. Okay. So we're back
Yeah.
and we're going to cover chapter 30.
This is a good chapter.
Yeah.
I know. So much fun stuff. It's like the perfect combination. You learn a lot. The characters do some interesting things. It was great.
And big cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And I do have to say, yes, this is exciting, but more importantly than that, I think that this is my favorite Elayne moment.
okay.
Like almost better than Tanchico.
Yeah, like kicking down a door.
Kicking
just
down the door and
you know.
saving the Panarch and being super badass, because that was very impulsive
Yeah,
and
yeah.
reckless and not very safe. And this, I feel like, is the single, it's so badass.
Putting them in their place.
And it's been books and books and books since we've gotten Elayne being just this strong and badass. And
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, and she's also like it's clearly logical. Like we're in her perspective, and we're hearing the brain waves and what's going on and why she's not pushing it so far. So she's so clearly in control of this behavior. Where in Tenchiko, I don't know.
It was sort of like adrenaline fueled.
Yeah.
And rage.
And rage.
A little bit of rage.
This is also rage, but it's like
Yes.
controlled rage.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
She's like learned in her short, whatever it's been, year since that happened.
Yep.
She has learned.
She's leveling up big time.
She channels her mother's energy. Not channel, well, she does channel the power too, but she like channels her mother's energy, the queenly energy, and not the like, I'm gonna look down my nose at you because I'm better than you.
Yeah,
you know, queen energy, but like the
authority,
power.
You know, I'm trying to come up with like mashed potato jokes.
Yeah.
It's like these aren't your
regular mashed
these
potatoes.
aren't like your regular mashed potatoes. These are like
your
mashed potatoes with goat cheese.
Yeah, that's
right.
good.
It's like just like add a little bit of that in there.
I've done that before.
Oh man, it's like these
very good.
This isn't your instant mashed potatoes. This is your like
garlic chives,
restaurant quality.
Yeah.
Okay. Every once in a while.
And if anyone's confused, it's because I've called Elayne mashed potatoes.
These aren't your, grandma's lumpy mashed potatoes.
I think she's very boring and dull.
But
and
here,
this makes her better.
These are like the crispy mashed potato spring rolls from. Yeah. Have you ever had those ones?
No.
I think we might all be
potatoes.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know if we're definitely going to order something after this, but like.
Is it mashed potatoes? 'Cause... Okay. Now, let's get into it, because I haven't even told you what this chapter's called yet.
Right.
It's called The First Cup.
Yep.
Which I'm still struggling to understand.
They give her the first cup, which is a sign of respect. First cup of tea goes to the most powerful.
Guys, see, the problem is the chapter symbol is the Forsaken.
Yeah.
And I thought that the chapter title was because of the, I thought they were together. And so I was looking for the first cup thing in the Forsaken bit.
Right, okay.
And I was also waiting for Forsaken to show up with the Aes Sedai.
Right, okay.
I have something to note. Within the Aes Sedai when I was reading it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah.
Let's get there first.
Okay.
Wait, you ready for my speculations?
Sure.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Take out the prediction board.
Okay.
I didn't even note her name, actually. I'm so bad at this. Okay, so Elayne is in the middle of a conversation. We enter in this Elayne perspective. She is in some hall somewhere. She's doing something. She's angry. She wasn't even offered a chair to sit in and was just like told to stay standing. And she even says, I don't understand this. You're acting like we've done something terrible when what we've done is find the Bowl of the Winds. And I was like, yeah, mic drop. And then like literally.
No, technically haven't actually found it.
A second later, she thinks to herself, well, practically we have.
But it's so funny because this is the Nynaeve
I am
miscommunication. Because Nynaeve came in shouting like, oh, Matt went off shouting something about, oh, he found the Bowl of the Winds.
Yes.
That's not what Matt said at all.
What did Matt say? What did he shout about?
He said, if I'm not back tomorrow, tell them they're going to have to find it themselves.
Oh, see, I interpreted this way differently.
But Nynaeve's been drinking, and he probably kept drinking.
Kate, stop. I'm telling you how I'm choosing to see this.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm choosing to see that this is like later that day.
Okay.
And Matt has, in fact, because he followed randomly.
Okay.
And so I'm choosing to believe that in this past hour, he has, in fact, followed her to the storeroom.
Found the storeroom.
Because there's some, like, plan that had to happen. There were orders that were given, and it might have been go to the storeroom and grab some stuff. If you're evacuating the people,
get the stuff out, too.
Get the stuff to go to.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
And he has found it. But Nynaeve and Elayne don't have physical possession of it.
Love it.
Yet. And
so technically,
that was my a little bit interpretation of it. I'm still annoyed with Elayne for thinking that they have it when they clearly don't.
Yeah.
And I'm annoyed at her for making me think they have it.
Yeah.
When they don't.
She just gives it to you and then pulls it away.
I kind of like your interpretation.
I like yours.
Oh.
It's just like one scene after another. It reads like Nynaeve doesn't know what the hell, and that's not what he said.
Oh, see, I thought this was Matt, like time lapse slightly,
which is we don't actually really know.
Because 100%. I was like, because where did we last see Matt following a woman randomly?
Yeah,
of course it led to what they need.
Yeah,
and it's also right after Rihanna got the urge, so you knew him being Taviran was
Mhm.
playing into it. So something was going on. Something big was going on.
Yes.
That's what I
The
was thinking.
pattern is lining events up for
That's
us.
what I
Yeah.
thought, but the fact
Yeah.
that they don't have it physically in their like hands, I was like, ugh,
Yeah.
God, I hate this so much. In the end, it doesn't actually even matter.
Sure. I mean,
So-
you could say that.
For me, anyway, it really doesn't matter at all. So Elayne, at this point, is hoping that Nynaeve is doing better with her task, but she never expected this kind of treatment. And so at this point, we get some insight into what's happening
Sure.
and where she is and what's going on. So she is standing before some Aes Sedai,
Yep.
who
Mhm.
are basically berating her.
Yep.
She's basically on trial.
It's all the older
And
ones.
she's like gonna be just punished like a little novice
Yeah. Yep. They've had enough of her.
because Merlelli's here.
Merlily. Yes. And
And she's gonna
Vandy
be-
being terrible.
And she's going to be punished for exposing a secret that she didn't even know was a secret. It just doesn't seem fair
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah,
Poor
okay,
girl.
so Merlelli. Yeah, she says, "You've endangered a secret kept close by every woman to wear the shawl for over 2,000 years. You must be insane."
It's like, okay, dramatic much.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly what it is. I figured what was happening here was Elayne went to the Aes Sedai to be like, guess what? We found this thing, and this is how we have it. And then a bunch of questions were asked, and then she had to spill the beans about
Okay.
the kin thing. Because like,
Kin,
otherwise, how
okay.
do they know? How do they know that she like endangered this secret? Unless she went to them to divulge that. Did they find out somehow?
Well, they Nynaeve and Elayne were told that they were going to be told on.
So, unless they got out of the city. And Rihanna specifically, last perspective, we actually didn't talk about it. She said, "I'm glad those women haven't shown their faces before because I didn't want to have to tell the Aes Sedai anything."
Yeah. Okay.
She like specifically said that.
Yeah.
So I don't think they got told on.
Okay.
I think that this was their stupidity going to the Aes Sedai to tell them what they did.
That's very likely.
because
Yeah,
they're
true.
very
I think-
proud.
Yeah, it's a new discovery, they think.
Yeah. And so now Elayne demands to know what secret, and Vandine is there. She says, "You'll find out when you're properly raised."
Whoa.
And then
No
another Aes
respect.
Can't get no respect.
can't get no respect. So here we have Merlelli, Vandine Adelius, and one other, right?
Two others.
Two
We've
others.
got
others.
Carrie Ann,
Kirian.
And Saritha.
which is a new one to us, who's the lowest in strength here
Okay.
because she
Oh,
like
yes.
serves the tea, and then
Uh-huh.
Saritha the Brown, and we know that she's here in the palace. She was part of that tug of war with Matt.
Oh, okay.
So we've heard of her before.
Okay.
Basically,
And
the
did
whole thing that's going on.
Well, yeah. Did I read this correctly? That it's kind of a trial, and
Yeah.
how did you say her name, Brett?
I don't know. Carrie Ann.
Carrie Ann is like the defense attorney for Elayne, and Saritha is like the
Yeah.
crown prosecutor.
That's
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
They've set up the room kind of like it would be in the
Weird.
tower.
Spencer, are you like a lawyer? or
Am
something?
Oh, man, something
Weird.
That's so weird.
Are you
Weird.
equally rude to people?
Yeah.
All the time. All the time.
That's actually the way you have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. So at some point, I think it's the one we haven't met before.
Sure.
Are you smiling because
The,
you know
the
what I'm going to
lowest
say?
strength one?
Yeah.
Carrie Ann? Korean?
I think the one who needs to go walk to get the tea or something.
Okay.
So somebody here, I really wish I wrote it down. I'm such an idiot because I forgot this happened. But somebody walks across the room, one of the Aes Sedai, who's large
Okay.
and moves gracefully for her size.
Whoa! Do you think one of them... Oh, wait. Do you still think this?
It's Lanfear.
Oh.
Oh, my goodness. In the wild. Holy
In the wild,
smokes.
because of the Forsaken symbol.
Right, you were just
I
you had your eyes peeled.
So now
Right?
For Masana in disguise. Right? Because we know Masana's somewhere in the White Tower, somewhere.
Yeah, but they're not in the White Tower right now.
No. But she could have like easily, jumped around
Totally.
to where she needs to be.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
know what Forsakens do.
Yeah.
Anyway, and the last time we saw a larger lady moving gracefully for her size
True.
was Lanfear being Keeley.
True.
Yeah,
true.
no, that's
Oh,
true.
another large person who moves gracefully for his size.
Who?
The spy
Perrin.
master man.
Well, Perrin? Perrin is
Vannon.
Vannon.
Vannon's entire deal is he like moves way too easily for his size. He's the best horse thief and he can
Oh.
sneak past warders and get by anybody all the time. You've
doesn't
never
matter.
even just like you're
Nope.
just picking on this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right.
so I was like, And then that was it. I didn't even write it down later because I
And immediately
forgot
it's
about
like,
it.
doesn't matter. Okay.
If there had been a Forsaken at the beginning of a chapter where Vannon did that, she would have flagged that too.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But I think it's just specifically the woman, because it's like, clearly this is Lanfear or Missana somehow. So I know
Okay.
Missana's somewhere disguised in here.
In the tower, in the White Tower.
With Aes Sedai.
Okay.
She can flit around.
Sure. I mean, okay. I'll give you that.
I don't know her motives. I'm not her.
You're not.
Fine. You're not technically Missana.
I don't know anything about Missana. I literally have no idea. Like, I barely even know. I don't even know her name.
I don't know.
Don't do anything. Let's move on. Okay, so Elayne demands to know, like, what secret. That whole thing happens. And another Aes Sedai says it's not the child's fault for revealing a secret she doesn't know about. But, excuses aren't allowed over here.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Ignorance is not something of the law, right?
Yep.
That's thing.
That's the one.
So, to be fair, two different Aes Sedai say that, because the one's defending her, and then the one's prosecuting her.
This defense, and the defense is like just agreeing with the prosecutor, like, yep, we should lock her away.
We should definitely spank her with a slipper.
Yeah.
Hit her with a slipper.
For the record, whenever there's like spanking with it, I just want to make it very clear, they beat them. Mm-hmm. Like, trips to the Mistress of Novices to be like spanked means you're getting beaten with like a hard slipper. It's not just like a spanking. It's a beating.
I thought it was over the butt. I like being switched is like
being beaten. Yeah. But it's not like a haha spank. It's like, no, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, it's corporal punishment. It's real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't think any of us are thinking that they're getting a light tap on the butt.
No, some people make jokes about the whole spanking situation.
Also, can we talk about any time you're being hit with an object, it's just that object? They're being slippered. Like, like that's what they're talking about. They're like, slipper her, and now that's the verb.
Yeah. There you go.
Like, she's gonna be slippered.
Yes.
I don't know. Yep. It just sounded so weird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's a verb now, I guess.
Okay. All right. Whatever. So Elayne is like, wait a minute. What is going on here? This really sounds like I'm in trouble. I have something that I have no idea.
We also get confirmation of her age.
Elayne is 18.
She's 18. She's only 18. And that means in the beginning of the series, she was 16.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Been 2 years.
Okay. Same with Egwene, right?
Yeah.
Because Rand thinks when he meets Elayne that she seems like Egwene's age.
Yeah.
Okay. So Elayne tries to ask more questions, but Merlela tells her that the kin aren't your concern. I propose to pass sentence. And then that's when Elaine's like, yep, I'm on trial.
Yeah, and all the Aes Sedai are like, yep, let's do this. Let's pass sentence. And the defense attorney's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But also prior to this, there's a moment where Elayne, she's trying to figure out what's going on, and she recognizes, prior to her kind of, I'll say, epiphany after her mom's letter, but she already has noticed that she's stronger than everyone else here, and nobody else is approaching her strength. So she's already aware of that.
Right, but she doesn't know that that's how
it works.
Aes Sedai defer to each other. She doesn't know that piece yet. And so, like, that only helps her later, I think.
I'm trying to think if she does know that, because we know that Egwene knows that, but maybe that's never...
Know, and Swan, with the healing, you think there would have been some conversations, because Swan's position has changed so drastically.
Yeah, I feel like it's something they should hypothetically know.
I doubt it. Unless Swan or Lyanna divulged that.
Egwene's not exactly a share of information.
No, nobody is.
Yeah.
Nobody shares information with nobody.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Ever.
Anyways,
never.
It definitely sucks.
With anybody ever, never.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with no, she doesn't know.
Okay.
That's
Fair
just
enough.
Like the safe.
Sure.
That's the safe.
If you're in doubt, just like, yeah.
That's what we should decide. So... the rest of the Aes Sedai get ready to agree with her, but just before that happens, there's a knock at the door, and it's Merlilla's maid, and she has a note brought from Tylan herself, and they're all so annoyed at this interruption.
Yes.
But Elayne just, like, snatches the note because it is a note from Elaine's mother.
No.
Oh.
It's a note from Jacob Carradine about Elaine's mother.
Yes. Oh, yes. No, I know. I read that wrong.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we're clear.
Yeah, no, you're right. So this maid was told to bring it to Elayne right away because it's about her mother.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And just before we jump into the note, I think there's an interesting point where Elayne is so relieved that this maid comes in to deliver the letter, and she specifically mentions she hasn't been as relieved since seeing Matt in the Stone of Tyr.
Yes. Yes.
So like she was obviously very grateful for that rescue. Like it's
Well,
it's just
and also all of this toe to mat business with Avienda, like she even thinks at one point in this chapter that this better end soon. Avienda better tell her that this is over because she can't stand being nice to Matt anymore. She might even just eventually ask Matt to beat her if that's what this'll take. So like she's already thought about that one time, so I think that that's kind of like fresh on her mind.
Yeah, and like good luck getting Matt to actually beat
Oh,
you
yeah,
to like
no,
attain
never.
you to
No,
like no
never. Oh man,
0% chance.
If he right now thinks women are confusing,
oh man, nope.
Could you imagine if Elayne shows up and is like, okay,
I need you to beat me.
Yeah.
So I can.
I have toe. Please spank me.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Slipper me.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Okay. Okay, so Elayne is absolutely furious and she snatches the letter away and breaks it open without even being given permission.
Whoa, crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And now everything that happens from here on is my favorite.
Interesting.
I love that this happened.
Okay.
This is great. And it was made even better by listening to the audiobook.
Okay.
Wow.
Good narration.
Honestly, the portrayal of Elayne. I made fun of Michael Kramer last time for Elaine's accent. Right. That was very funny. But this, like acting, this voice acting of Elayne being the most pissed off and the most commanding, it is like emotional. I was so impressed. And I don't say that all the time about the audiobooks, but I love the fact that I'm getting to experience them. Like this was the very first time where I was like, this is a cool experience I have reading the book and listening to the audiobook, and I'm getting like both kind of at the same time.
For sure.
And the only reason I'm listening to it is because it makes it easier to write my notes while listening. But it's so cool, and I loved this chapter. It was done so it's like my favorite. It's probably why it like struck me so much, because if I was just reading it, I wouldn't have the emphasis and the.
You don't do that in your own head for reading.
No, I don't, and it was impactful. So I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
If you haven't listened,
you need to like write a I don't know, like a review for Michael Kramer. Yeah.
No, this was
no,
Kate
not Michael
Redding.
Kramer.
Oh, okay.
This was Kate Redding.
Okay. You got to do like something for them to let everybody know how good it is.
Yeah. This was my favorite.
5-star review
of this reading of this chapter.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, I do like Michael Kramer's Oliver. It's like little orphan boy voice. Yeah. It's like exactly what you'd expect. Anyway, they're all funny, but this was good. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. So she breaks the letter open, reads it. It's a note from Jacob Carradine, and it's a very nicely written letter with joyous news of her mother being alive and a guest of Pedronile and Amador, and everyone wants to be reunited here. So just come on down.
Yeah,
come on down
because we want to get everyone back to Andor together.
Yeah.
And Carradine is going to offer his escort so that she arrives safely through Altara.
Isn't that so nice?
It's so
He's
good.
Just such a gentleman. Yeah.
Forgive the hasty message. He didn't want to waste any time. He just wanted to make sure that Elayne knows.
She learned the wonderful news.
Man, so good.
And so now at this point, Elayne loses it because she for sure thinks her mother's dead, knows Jacob Carradine is entertaining dark friends.
Yes.
And fully believes that this is a manipulative... How do I say this word? Manipulative.
Yep. Nailed it. That's it.
That's not the word.
Yeah, it is. Manipulative.
Oh, I said it right?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound right in my head. Manipulative
There
tactic.
you go.
To try to get her to him so that she can like
do what?
Be dark friend.
Yeah. And it's really weird. So
Slippered and dark friended.
Yuck.
What does Jacob Carradine know? Does Carradine know that Niall's dead currently?
No.
Or is this like the plan of Niall?
This is the plan.
We know that Niall gave Carradine orders
to
help get Elayne back
Yeah.
Yeah.
to Amador.
It doesn't really matter because
Yeah.
what I think is actually happening here is Jacob Carradine is using the information about Morghedien being alive with Pedronile. He probably thinks that's still true. That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I
And
like
he's
that.
using it to get Elayne to him so he can, like, capture her somehow.
Okay.
I don't know.
And that's the tricky part is because Carradine is
For
working
some-
off of like 2 to maybe 3 different sets of orders here.
Yeah, the problem is
Yeah.
I don't know what his motive is, and so, like, that matters.
Well, his motive is stay alive because he's
no,
got a
I
couple
know,
of
but
death
what's his
threats
motive
hanging over
with
his head.
this message?
Yeah.
Is what I mean. Like, does he want her to actually get to Amador?
Does he actually think
Or,
she's
like-
going to come to him? Because that would be crazy.
Right. I think he thinks that this will work.
Interesting.
Like, why would he send it if he doesn't think that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Especially with all the rumors that Morghese is dead, like this is really exciting news. Of course she should jump at it.
She should just come.
I mean, and hypothetically, it might work if she actually like was clinging to the hope, like my mom's still alive,
Or didn't have the information that Jacob Carradine's a dark friend.
A dark friend.
Yep.
Yeah. Either of those things might have changed it.
Yeah. And so now Elayne just, like, loses it because, like, how dare he use this to try to manipulate her? Like, she knows her mother's dead, and that's, like, despicable to talk about my dead mother this way. And so she flings the letter, like, in the air, uses the power to, like, burn it to ash in midair. And this is, like, all happens within seconds. She,
Yes.
like, snatches the letter without permission, reads it, then channels and burns it.
before anyone can read it, and with channeling without permission, it's a whole bunch.
Yeah, and so
she's breaking rules.
Yeah, Merlella flips out on Elayne. You were not given permission to channel, and then Elayne puts on her freaking best queen voice ever.
Yeah,
And
this is when you do it. This is when you use it.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is the moment.
Well, and like we said before, this is stemmed by rage. It starts with rage about Carradine, and then it morphs immediately into rage at the Aes Sedai and the lack of respect they've been giving her, and it just motivates her to just keep pushing and find this strength.
I love it. I love it so much. The Aes Sedai all start to just, like, lay into Elayne, but she cuts them all off and says, I am Aes Sedai. You think you're gonna punish me for endangering a secret known to sisters, but nobody bothered to tell me about it when I attained the shawl? You think you're gonna punish me like a novice or accepted when I'm Aes Sedai? I was raised by Egwene, the Amyrlin you claim to serve, and if you deny that Nynaeve and I are Aes Sedai, then you deny the Amyrlin seat. I will not have it. I call you to account. Submit to the will of the Amyrlin seat, or I will call judgment on you as a rebellious traitor.
Wow.
Mic drop. Mic drop. Honestly,
Snip, snap, snip, snap.
so good.
That's how you flip it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all just, like, in shock. And most Aes Sedai are pretty schooled at not showing shock on their face.
Mhm.
And there's just like jaws.
Literally.
Oh, man.
They're like,
And then she
Oh.
channels a chair to sit down. Boom.
yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite thing she does. Because because she thought to herself at the beginning that she was pissed off that no one offered her a chair to sit in.
And now she gets a friggin' chair.
Now she gets a chair for herself. And
Yeah,
now
no, that was a good speech.
it was great. She
Covered
keeps
all the
going.
basics. Yeah.
And she says, your authority comes from the hall, and ours comes from the Amyrlin seat. So from now on, you'll defer to me.
Yeah.
Ha ha.
Flip flop. And yeah.
And
And that makes
Morlella
sense.
tries to come back. Yeah. But Elaine's like, no way. She steamrolls her, calls her out again for denying the authority of the Amyrlin.
Yeah, and Elaine's asking for a lot here because she understands, like, if you want one, you got to ask for 10. That's the lesson that her mom taught her, and it makes
Mhm.
sense. So she's saying, yeah, you're going to take orders from me. She doesn't expect that to happen. She at least wants, like, equal footing.
She wants some respect as an Aes Sedai.
little respect.
Mhm.
But she kind of gets 10 here.
She does,
She
yeah.
asks if she gets it.
She does. She gets a lot.
She
It's a whole
does.
heck of a lot.
And I really love the Linny saying, can't put honey back in the honeycomb once you take it
Take
out.
the honeycomb out. Yeah. Once the cat's out of the bag, can't put the honey back in the comb. Yeah.
Oh,
Something like that.
oh, man.
So here we're in Elayne's head, and we come back to that conversation we were having earlier about whether Elayne knows that Aes Sedai defer to people who have more strength and the power to them, because Elayne is not using her strength in the power as a means of being higher than them. She's using her authority from Egwene and them being from the hall. Yeah.
That's a good point.
So
Yeah, because she's not like, I'm stronger than all of you bitches, so you better listen to me. Like, that's not
Mhm.
the situation here. She's like, no, I have orders from the Amyrlin, so you better listen to me.
That's true.
So
That's a good
she's
point.
looking for equal footing, and they, all the other Aes Sedai know it, and she not only has that, but she has the power, so she's way above them.
Oh, way above. Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
She's got both.
Yeah.
She got both.
That's right. And so now Elayne says, while you're thinking quietly on what else I should be told as Aes Sedai, Vandene and Adelius will tell me about these kin.
Yeah.
And then we get the whole full backstory about all these women who, like, leave the tower and the kin pick them up, and it's like a tradition of like 1,000+ years or something.
Yeah, so I got the notes on that one.
Okay, tell us about it.
But I just have to like say again, this is according to the Aes Sedai.
Right.
So we don't
Right.
actually know if this is 100% accurate.
Interesting.
This is what the Aes Sedai think.
I think they get like quite a bit of it.
I mean,
It seems right.
there's things that are wrong that we can point out about what they think about the kin.
Okay.
So even during the Trolloc Wars, women fail their tests or lack strength, so they would be sent away, and that makes a lot of sense, and we've seen that kind of thing. But it also makes sense to them that the women who left the tower would be afraid to go off into the world on their own, so a lot of them fled to what is now Abu Dar, and the kin have persisted since the Trolloc Wars, which was like
1,000 years ago.
like 2,000 years ago.
Okay.
So long time, but apparently they've taken Wilders and women put out of the tower. And the Wilder bit is confusing because it was like the whole thing about really want to make sure that they weren't Wilders.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So there's like some confusing
Or
information
maybe in the past they took in Wilders and then that like kind of blew up in their faces, and so now they have a rule that they don't. Like that's what I could see like in the past.
Yeah, that could be it.
So
being like a thing.
Here's also information that doesn't sound accurate according to the Aes Sedai, because the Aes Sedai tell them that nobody stays with them very long, sometimes 5 or 10 years, but once they realize their little group isn't a replacement for the White Tower, they go off and become village healers and wisdoms. And sometimes they just forget about the power and stop channeling. And that seems
so wrong. And even Elayne
100%
thinks
wrong
to herself, how could anybody just forget about the power? And
not just
channeling?
Forget about the power, but like you're telling me that the Aes Sedai think that they just stick around with this, like the kin for 5 to 10 years, then like F off.
Yeah.
But like we've seen these people who are like, they've been around for what, 50 years?
Well, that's
like
that
a whole heck
Aes
of a long time.
Sedai smudgeness.
But it is.
It's their arrogance. They think that if somebody wasn't strong enough to make it all the way to Aes Sedai or whatever, mentally or
why would they bother channeling at all?
Strength-wise, they probably don't even care to touch the source like we do.
Yeah. So that's other information that's like clearly wrong.
That's true. That stuff is
Then
wrong.
we've got the tower knowing about the kin since the beginning, more or less. And despite calling themselves the kin, they've done what the Aes Sedai want, which is remain hidden, and then even hide the fact that they can channel and then draw no attention to themselves. Right. And that's true. And over the years, they even pass along word secretly when they find women who falsely claim the shawl. So the Aes Sedai know that the kin passed the word, and we've seen that from the reverse side, that does in fact happen.
It does, yeah.
Now, they've been scattered. They've scattered lots of those runaway groups because other gatherings have sprung up, but they get broken up when they're found. But the Aes Sedai have let the kin hang around.
Because they are so intent on staying hidden and not channeling.
And we get a reference to about the last one being about 200 years ago, and the last group called themselves the Daughters of Silence.
Even though they were loud about their stuff.
Yeah, there were 23 of them. Wilders gathered and trained by a pair of former accepted.
Right.
Interesting note, 200 years ago, not that long in the span of Aes Sedai lives.
I suppose so. And then an interesting note that Elayne thinks to herself, a woman is not done with the White Tower until they are done with her.
Yeah, and then this is really big too. So the kin helps runaways. So the kin has 2 or 3 women in Tar Valon to keep watch.
Yeah.
Because they approach every woman who's put out. So the kin approaches people in Tar
And the
Valon.
Aes Sedai know that.
The Aes Sedai
Yeah.
know it, but they approach them.
Yeah.
So the Aes Sedai managed to find basically every runaway, and no one makes it off the island without the help of the kin.
Interesting.
Which is really big because we've seen people get off the Tar Valon island before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
That's
it's like,
true.
you
So
know,
that's not accurate.
well, or is it? And we just don't know who these like 2 or 3 people in the kin who are like secretly in the kin in Tar Valon.
Okay.
So
The kin has their own eyes and ears network in
they
Tar
do.
Valon.
Super sneaky.
Yeah.
And then when the runaways do manage to escape, the Aes Sedai know where to look, so they almost all end up back in the tower. So it kind of gives the Aes Sedai this air of we are super powerful and know everything.
No one runs away.
And in reality, it's just because they have this one group that they're looking at here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and then that's why they keep it so secret and let them continue, because they do feel like they get benefits from them.
It works. It works for everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So now at this point, Elayne understands why they don't want to have this secret out in the open. And then surprisingly, Elayne realizes that they're all just sitting there waiting for her lead.
Yeah.
And Vendine tells her, you might not know, and even though we're a contentious lot in many ways, when someone is placed above us or stands above us, we tend to fall in line fairly meekly for the most part. And I like that Adelius is like, oh yeah, we do, huh?
Yeah.
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 That was a funny little side note.
I never thought of that before. Yeah.
And then Merlelli agrees also and even offers to take a penance for their behavior. And I was like, yeah, give her a penance.
Give her a penance.
Make her wash dishes
Make
or
her
something.
hoe cabbages in a field in a farm.
Yeah, seriously.
Get the heck out of here.
Slipper her.
Slipper her.
Okay, well, maybe not that. But anyway, so they ask Elayne what the plan is, and now that the cat's out of the bag on this one, she sits back down with the sisters and says they have to work together to find the Bowl of the Winds. And also, now she has something to tell them all about the kin.
Yeah, so what could that be?
And the perspective changes.
Yeah. I mean, it could be like correcting some information about the kin. Maybe she's going to share what she knows.
Maybe, now that they're all in it together, Elayne does think to herself, the Aes Sedai keep too many secrets.
Elayne is an oversharer, for sure.
She is. She does think to herself that she is going to keep some things to herself, and she knows when not to overshare. At least she thinks she knows.
Yeah.
She's at least a little bit cognizant of that.
A little bit, yeah.
But she also agrees that Aes Sedai keep too many things, especially from each other.
Yeah.
So, which is true, because we've seen her literally sharing everything she ever learns, like from Moghedien.
All the time.
And some of those things.
Yeah. Good segue. Speaking of Moghedien, what's she up to?
Oh my god, right?
Not that I am super excited.
Are you guys professionals?
Something like that.
Right?
Whoa.
Barely.
Whoa. Is it impressive? I'm impressed with us. All right, before we move on, Spence, you got any last minute things about Elayne here?
Just while they were all talking about the kin, they served Elayne the tea first.
Oh,
that's the
right,
chapter
I missed
title.
it.
First,
that's how I
Yeah.
missed it, because I didn't know
Yes,
it.
yeah.
It's not noted in
and
the notes.
we gotta be close to this bowl. Gotta be close.
Oh my god.
We're like 2 to 3 books
Have
off.
I
for,
predicted
like,
that
max.
we're gonna find it in this book? I feel like that's something I've said out loud.
I think you said that. I think you said that we're gonna get this plot line.
Put it on the record now.
Yeah, I have said that, and I said that if we don't, and this plotline continues after this book, like, I'll probably just stop reading this series.
Right.
How's that?
A lot of pressure.
Shoot.
Or this book is going straight in the fireplace.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
You got so many copies. I'll just keep putting them on the
I thrift a lot. We got a lot of used books. Okay. All right. Perspective change into Moghedien.
This is such a frantic perspective.
I was like, where are we? Number one.
It's wild.
It's wild. So I do think we are in Ebudar.
Yes.
Yeah. But
that's not a secret, though,
no,
right?
No, but like, listen.
Okay.
Hey, I'm a first-time reader over here.
Sure.
Reading this for the first time, I don't know where she's been, or what her orders are, or what's even going on.
But at the end of the chapter, there's
aware.
reference to some names.
I know.
We know we're...
No, I'm just talking about what I'm reading in this moment.
Okay,
She's
fair.
in a sedan chair, cruising through some city, and spots some woman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this woman is wearing a mask, But here's the thing. The Festival of Birds could also be being celebrated somewhere else.
Okay.
That's true.
That's
because
not
we
wrong.
got that other New Year's celebration, the Kyrianan one.
Sure, it's not even important right now, but
It was called Chesaline. Hi, Chesaline.
Yeah.
See, I remember.
Or was that like the somber one? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. We're not in Kyrie.
And as we learned in the fun fact, these festivals happen all over the world.
All over. Oh man.
So I was like, this might be a throw off. I was like, right away, like, ooh, they're trying to throw me off right now.
Yeah.
And when I say they, it's like Moghedien and Robert Jordan working together.
He's like, do you want to know where? Nope, you don't get to know.
You don't get to. You get that it's a coastal city because of the boats and a harbor thing.
Okay.
You get that it's a birds of a feather. What's the festival? That's what it
Festival
is.
of Birds.
Festival of Birds. But you don't get a name of like a city. So like,
Feather
does
Fest.
Alien also celebrate in the same way?
Possibly.
And they're just like looking at a boat in Alien or something?
Possibly.
So, okay. So initially, obviously, I thought this was Abu Dar.
Yeah.
and she
that was a lot.
spots a woman who she knows by the determined stride, who's wearing a mask.
Okay.
Who shouts at her men.
Nope.
Oh, no. Moghedien shouts at her men.
Yeah.
Okay. And my initial thought was Nynaeve. Who else would Moghedien know so well than this woman who had her captured?
Okay.
Who she's seen every day, and Nynaeve is very determined and has a very specific way of walking. And I was like, ooh, is she? And
that's good logic.
And this really does seem to be a weird side mission that she really shouldn't be doing, and it seems personal.
Okay.
And what is more personal than Moghedien taking out Nynaeve right now?
Okay. Yeah. No, anyway, I'm sticking with you.
That's just what you're really not looking like you're sticking with me, Spencer.
No, I am. I am. It's good.
Yeah, I'm sticking with you. Sorry. Yes, I'm here.
We're good.
Okay, so that's where I was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't think that
I'm on board.
I don't think that it's Nynaeve.
I need to, because you just went off the rails right at the start, so I got it. I don't even know where
I'm all over the
head's
place.
at.
Well, this whole thing, I told you,
I'm pretty
excited. What's going on?
Yeah.
Remember? I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's about this.
You're here for it.
So these are all the thoughts.
Okay.
All the thoughts all at once, if anyone cares.
Okay.
So, now, Moghedien sees this woman she recognizes. She shouts at her men to stop and can see the woman through the gaps of the people. She takes note of the boat that this woman gets on.
Ooh.
And it's pulling away.
Okay.
And she thinks about her instructions.
From Moghedien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As being explicit, and disobedience is not allowed.
Because Mind Trap, she is owned.
She's literally
owned.
Her soul is in a little
box.
Little thing.
On a necklace.
Yeah.
Around Moghedien's
necklace.
Yep.
Corsuvra. Uh-huh. Yeah, that thing. And this is where the relation to Jacob Carradine comes in, because immediately she's like, I should never disobey, and then immediately disobeys.
Yes. Same thing.
Yeah. Oh, I should never.
Because
it's
you don't survive
you don't
disobeying.
survive disobedience.
Yeah. So here's what we're gonna do.
Here's what we're gonna do. A slight disobedience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
She thinks a
just quick
slight delay won't hurt at all, as long as he never learns of it.
Right. That's how most things work.
And this is so dumb. I didn't ever picture Moghedien as super stupid, but this is dumb.
But
this is what happens when you get personal, right?
Yeah. And whoever this is somebody that Moghedien really.
I mean, we got options.
That's why I really thought it was Nynaeve.
We got lots. We got more options. You think that Nynaeve's the only person that Moghedien super fucking hates?
No, I think she hates a lot of people. Okay, so now Moghedien flings open the door of her sedan chair, and she goes to an inn, but she thinks to herself that her sedan chair is hired by people that she's compelled.
Yep.
And
they ain't going anywhere.
They'll wait for her. Now, she strides on into this inn and thinks about how wonderful she looks, and about how nobody has ever seen anybody looking as good as her in an inn like this.
Yes.
It's very powerful.
And at the same time, she thinks about how she's in the black and red colors, which are Moghedien's livery.
That's right. Livery. We learned how to say it properly.
That. Okay.
Yes.
Servant colors. she's owned.
And
by
she
Moghedien.
even thinks to herself that even though she's in like this grand outfit, she wants to murder literally everybody who sees her in it.
And what's the mask that she has?
Yeah.
Raven.
Yeah, so she's wearing a bird.
Pretty cool.
Big black one. Might not be Abu Dar.
Interesting.
Might be though.
It's
Might be.
possible.
It's possible.
I got to see where you land on this.
I don't. I'll land anywhere by the end of this.
Oh my god.
I can
make
make
hard stances.
I can make a hard stance.
Hard stance later.
I can do it
Okay.
later. Let's talk about it first.
Okay.
So now she's in there. She compels the innkeeper to show her to the roof. They run up there, and then she looks down. Well, first she contemplates murdering the innkeeper.
Yeah.
And thinks, no, that's messy. It leads a trail, and I'm not supposed to even be here. So she just compels the innkeeper even further to like
get
go
outta here.
away.
Yep.
She basically ravines
Ravine
situation.
Mortgages, yep.
Right.
Sure.
Go take a nap.
It is interesting because she thinks in this that she's not actually that good at compulsion. And things would be easier for her
Which
if
is
she was better
shocking.
at it, but it's not one of her talents.
It is shocking, isn't it?
Yeah. Moghedien isn't that good at it.
You think she would be really good at it, and especially because we've seen her use it on so many people.
Yeah. But I mean,
maybe
even like,
that's how Nynaeve bust out of it.
which is very possible. Like, if
Yeah,
someone who's
that makes sense.
expert, maybe you wouldn't be able to get out as much. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
very possible. Like, that's kind of how talents work.
Out of the Forsaken, we've seen someone be very good at it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Oh, Grandel
Yeah.
with her like
Yep.
prizes.
Yep. And we've seen Lanfear really
Her
good at
pretties.
shields,
Dun,
stuff
dun,
like
dun.
that.
That's true. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, moving on. So now she's up on this roof. She finds the boat that this woman got into and like balefires the shit out of it.
Whoa, you just
out of
did
like
that.
no freaking.
You,
What is happening?
Here's the thing. Moghedien has literally zero time.
Yeah.
So she strides into
Yeah.
the inn, but she is like scurrying, moving her butt, compels people, smacks people out of the way so she can run through the crowd. Like, she is literally frantic right now because she is mind trapped. Her soul is on the verge of being crushed.
She feels Moghedien like tickling her mind or something.
She
like
knows
that.
he can show up at
Stroking
any
her
point,
mind.
and then she's done.
There's
she's
like
a
a
goner.
rustle of pigeons behind her in the middle of her balefire attempt.
She is so.
And she's sure he's standing behind her.
She is so afraid right now. Moghedien is not doing well mentally.
No.
Like, yeah, she's crazy and evil,
no.
but she is so in fear for her own soul that she flinches hard at like a pigeon.
Yeah, well, she thinks Moghedien's standing behind her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
the balefire doesn't go so well.
but it still
It goes pretty
gets
well for
the boat.
Oh yeah,
It
not
hits the
exactly
boat.
what she wanted.
It's just
The boat sinks.
Yeah.
Well, and then we get this like super weird balefire explanation moment
Yeah.
where it erased people from the pattern, so it technically didn't leave the dock.
So here's
but,
the
like,
thing. This is
'cause
actually
it got the rowers.
it's interesting for balefire. Like, I don't know if you want to call it physics, but we know that balefire burns the threads out of the pattern backwards. So the
Mhm.
actions that you
Right.
took no longer take effect. However, for objects don't
Perfect.
take actions.
Okay, that's true.
Okay, so like even consider things that like if you balefire a building, like the building doesn't have any actions or effects. So the boat technically doesn't have an action or effect.
It's
the
the
rowers
people
do.
who were rowing.
So their
the people.
actions are burned out.
So
So the
she
boat is
didn't-
physically behind.
because she didn't mean to get the rowers. She just wanted to get the cabin.
She wanted to get whoever this was.
right.
But now that the
Interesting.
rowers weren't there, their actions of
The
rowing
boat, like literally, like Matrix
Separates.
is like glitch in the matrix.
glitch
like
back
whoa,
in time.
Yes.
Now it's just back over
And
here.
then it's like now the water is at time to sink, so it's just like the boat's sinking. It's underwater. It's like,
it's like what the hell?
and she's
just
like,
happened?
that's good
She's
enough.
like, too bad. That's good enough. And
That's the
leaves.
thing. She doesn't have time because she's so in fear for her own soul. She's got to get her butt moving.
Yeah.
So she literally runs and hurls herself back into the little sedan chair
Mhm.
to get on with whatever
and
she's
tells
doing.
them to run.
Right? Because like she's clearly on a
She
time limit
gets
here.
thrown and jostled around like in the
Oh, it doesn't sound like Mogi.
Yeah.
Mogi.
I mean, she's a different person since being mind trapped.
well, and since being like also imprisoned by some like baby children in her mind, like that probably
Right.
like we know what that did to Egwene.
Takes a hit for the confidence
Right.
And for Egwene, it like was a fraction of the time
Yeah.
that Moghedien had to be imprisoned
Are you
against her will.
Are you feeling bad for Moghedien?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't agree with slavery.
You just murder. Kill her. Just kill.
She's putting it on the record.
No, I agree with
no
trials.
Brandy, what's better? Should we kill him or should we enslave him? What pick one?
Well,
which is the better?
I agree with trials and I agree with laws. And if the law says hanging for the crime, then that's what I agree with. That's the times we're in.
I know.
What if the law says slavery for the crime?
Well, then I...
No. What if you disagree with the law?
Oh,
It's not a just law. I don't know. Laws are complicated. They're on the board. You know what? Moghedien, she's
it's
terrible.
late. I don't have brain cells for this right now.
We don't have enough like recordings. This is not what we're here for.
No, but it's interesting.
Okay, 2 questions. Where the heck are they? What are you even thinking? I don't even know. Like what? You came into this so convoluted. I don't know what you even think is happening or where they are.
I was a mess. My brain's a mess about this whole thing.
Because okay, so just to end this like perspective, to put a bow on this.
Oh right. Okay.
Moghedien thinks, okay, technically Morden shouldn't be that mad because he didn't technically forbid me from doing this.
No, but she also just used a ton of the one power.
So anybody who can channel is going to be able to feel this. Yeah.
Literally anybody.
But he thinks that Morden might forgive her or just ignore the independent action as long as she does whatever her job is quickly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right, Moghedien.
It's like, I don't know. That doesn't sound very good, Moghedien.
No, of course he won't.
And then her last thought is that she's going to make Thalion and Ispan crawl.
Right, and Thalion and Ispan are the Black Aja who killed that
red belt
lady with the 2 guys.
Yep.
While trying to like torture information out of them, and then they decided that they were going to find. That's who it is. That's why I had that in my mind. They were the ones who decided they were going to find Nynaeve and Elayne for Moghedien.
Because then Moghedien will forgive them for not finding the
Cloud Bowl. And the stash.
The stash. Yeah.
Where the Cloud Bowl probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very convoluted.
Maybe though.
Maybe.
Because I'm still not even convinced this is real.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And that's the end of this chapter.
Okay, so what's happening?
I don't know.
What
Spencer,
do you think?
What's
you
happening?
can't ask Spencer.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Read and find out.
Read
and find out.
Classic.
I thought you'd have some insight.
Oh man,
for me
okay.
Here. Don't know.
Where could they be? Where do you think they are?
Ebudar is the obvious thing because of the masks and because of the boats.
And Thalion and Ispan were in Ebudar. And if that's where she's going now.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
That could be anything, though, because if they're still under her power, like, that doesn't matter.
And she could just be thinking in the back of her mind she's going to make them pay because maybe, like, their actions have her on some different mission. Like, but, you're totally right.
Who does she hate enough? And, like, she literally just killed someone.
Sure.
That she felt... Like, that's the one, right?
Yeah.
Like, she saw a woman.
Yeah.
And just killed her.
It could be literally any of the Black Aja.
That's why I think it's not Nynaeve anymore.
Like, we haven't seen Leandrin in 5 minutes. It could be any of the Black Aja. It could be, like, another Forsaken
like,
very easily.
Trying to leave somehow.
Could be. It could be one of the other Forsaken that she's got, like, a vendetta against or whatever. This Morden had a...
I think she get in...
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Yeah, but I think if it was one of the Forsaken, Morden, that would be something she's certainly not allowed to do.
Morden has 2 mind traps.
That's
like,
true.
There's lots of... there's options.
Okay.
Here's my final closing thought.
Okay.
I think this is a woman we don't yet know.
Nice. Classic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that we're meant to speculate on who this might be, but it's somebody who Moghedien clearly doesn't care for, but it's not someone.
And are we gonna learn about it like in a consequences? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Where it's like,
or never
again.
again.
What were you doing?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
Never again.
We'll either hear about it soon or like never
again. I love it. Okay.
Well, and maybe it's all a decoy.
Maybe it's a decoy.
Maybe it doesn't matter who she killed. Maybe it's about the impulse that caused her to do the balefire, and that's going to be the big problem.
Yeah, she's just going to get in a lot of trouble, I think. I think that she's not escaping trouble here.
We got options. She's in a lot of trouble already, so.
She certainly is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Oh my goodness. That was a long one. Spencer, thank you so much for joining us. This was...
I'm so happy I could.
I thought it was going to be a roller coaster, and it certainly was.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
Now, I do have to say, for the record, just because we're all here,
Okay.
now, I like to pick a favorite chapter every book.
Uh-huh.
And I went back and forth a couple of times about this, in which chapter I wanted to pick. But I'm going with the next chapter being my favorite from this book. A lot of people agree with me, and I picked it because I think it deserves it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I hope we find the freaking Clubble. I hope that's why it's everybody's favorite.
Boom. What is Matt up to, comma, did he actually, or was an Elysian just wasted?
Or is it like back with Rand? Is he doing something important and interesting?
It's Robert Jordan. It could be literally anything. It could be a new character introduced right now.
Or like Land showing up in Abu Dar? Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
So here are some significant plot points I want covered.
Yeah.
Moghedien showing back up in Camelin.
Yeah. Doing something.
Yeah. Lots of stuff here.
Okay.
Lots of stuff to happen for it to be your favorite. Because those things would be my favorite. I just listed a bunch of things I hope happen.
Yeah, I know, right?
And that would be my favorite.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks again, Spence, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And before you tell off a bunch of Aes Sedai and take your rightful spot at the top of the pecking order, I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
It's part of the pattern now.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett, with Essen, Passion Socks, Mozyme, Moltude, Benjamin, Michelle O'Brien, Jamie Young, Cody Fouts, Megan Smiley, Jonathan Reese, Vince Lewick, and Margaret, with music by Audionautics. If you are interested in supporting us and the podcast, and also getting some really cool exclusive merch and access to early episodes and bonus episodes, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show and us, like how to send us shot glasses, how to join our Discord, how to get in touch with us, things like that, for all things The Wheel Weaves, you can go to thewheelweavespodcast.com. Please be sure to give us that 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference. And tell a friend about us because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks again for listening because this really is part of the pattern now.